Our next agendized item is a presentation from B. Speakman with Farm Bureau, and B, you can speak from the podium. On February 23rd, on February 23rd, the board voted to accept the Idaho Farm Bureau property insurance proposal and to sign. B. Speakman is here so that in the business meeting, it can be made clear the benefits to Bonner County.
I'm going to have a point of order on this. Bonner County staff, to include myself and the risk manager, have not received the policy. It has been requested. Also, Commissioner Ahmet refused to allow us to consult with our broker on this. Your action item doesn't include us sitting through a presentation that we would not have reviewed. This isn't an appropriate avenue for that. Our broker hasn't seen this policy to do a compare and contrast from their policy to our policy. There's a lot of questions. Your item isn't a presentation from Farm Bureau. And I don't have the policy. Risk doesn't have the policy, and I've asked. And actually, I asked as early as yesterday, and the answer and the communication that you've given regarding this is not allowing us to ensure that we're getting what you're reporting. And so I would argue that this is not inappropriate, and that's not what we have on the agenda.
Commissioner Williams, I find it unfortunate that you believe that saving the county hundreds of thousands of dollars while improving coverage for the taxpayer could be possibly deemed to be inappropriate. I personally find it to be germane, appropriate, and the absolute duty of a public servant to safeguard and steward those resources.
Which is why what you would do is follow the process that we have in place. So I want to remind the county
The
of
board
what
of commissioners is the process.
No, I'm speaking here though. And so what happened is our broker came to present something to the board, and under Commissioner Ahmet, he removed people that flew here to talk about Bonner County insurance. You denied the people that we currently are paying to insure Bonner County. That has nothing to do with whether or not the presentation or the policy that this presenter may have is the policy that the county should buy. It's that you are ignoring elected officials and key players to include a broker who tried to present to you the risks and benefits of making a decision to drop insurance that we already paid for and buy a different form of insurance outside of our budget line that would negatively impact in not just the dollar amount, but the reputational risk of doing so. I have asked for the policy. This is not how a sitting commissioner, how a risk manager or other electeds receive policy information. This is not, and that is not what you have agendized here. Because had you had that item agendized as a presentation about a policy that I have not received, I would have actually asked to amend the agenda to remove the item, because that's not what we're supposed to do. And you're absolutely right, saving money is good, but it doesn't mean that is a way of disregarding what I'm talking about. I should receive the policy. I should know what we're talking about. So should risk, so should our broker, because the decision can have an implication that we can't recover from when we have to renew in October our property insurance. This is not how we conduct business.
Commissioner Williams, thank you for those comments, but Ms. Speakman has given a presentation. She has been working very much so over the last 2 weeks with our risk department. She has also been working with Redmond, and there was a reason, and there is also statute that puts the responsibility on the Board of County Commissioners. This
I'm
has
not
been
disagreeing with you.
Commissioner, we are not here to argue. Ms. Speakman.
No,
please.
I'm not. First, I'm not arguing with you that a presentation by Farm Bureau is not what's on this agenda. And to have a presentation that doesn't tell us what it is, didn't allow me the right to say I want to amend the agenda because of the reasons that I stated. This is not, it's not even fair to Farm Bureau. She did put in a lot of work, but you don't hide the work from sitting commissioners to say, I want to present a policy.
You were at all the meetings. Your lack
No.
of comprehension is not her fault.
Commissioner Williams, you chose not to attend the meeting
I
where we
did
voted
not.
upon
No,
this.
I did. No,
well-
we're not going to continue doing this.
We are
You
going to
guys have
continue, Chairman.
you guys have not had
Commissioner Williams.
conversation with our broker to do this. That is not how this is supposed to work.
I'm sorry.
I don't
We
have a
don't need
policy.
permission from our broker.
So-
Our broker needs permission from us.
People-
And that is an exact example of what we're doing wrong. We have a broker for a reason. And just so that everybody knows, if you buy outside of what they're doing, how do they ensure that we're getting what we need? I'm not saying not to. I'm saying I don't have the policy. The risk manager
You
doesn't
don't
have the
have the
policy. And so this is, you have
won't
intentionally
understand.
withheld. And no
Steve.
one has ever addressed the issue that Farm Bureau, and this was part of the presentation from our broker, risk manager, and second insurer. Farm Bureau doesn't write property insurance like this. This is different. This is a request that was made by Commissioner Ahmed to
Commissioner
a
Williams, I am
contact.
going to step in as
You're-
the chair.
And we're
This
gonna
is
be here
here.
for a long time because
It is.
I am owed the policy, so you can go and get the policy and send it because I am a sitting board member. And when I asked for the policy, I should receive the policy. Someone withheld the policy from myself, risk
Yeah.
manager, and Redmond. Because to this moment, I have not received a copy of the policy. And so I cannot make any kind of concession to what you're trying to do.
Well,
You did,
There
it's
is-
not on the agenda. A presentation from Farm Bureau is not on an agenda. It actually tells me that I'm supposed to be looking at a contract. So I would like the contract. That's what the agenda language says. So I just need the contract.
Your packet different than mine?
Commissioner
A
Williams,
letter
thank
that
you.
says we're saving a lot of money that doesn't tell me coverage is not a contract. So that is what the agendized item is. So I'm going to turn to Bill Wilson because he's here online. Commissioner Ahmad agendized regarding property insurance contract with Idaho Farm Bureau. They have not provided the contract to the board members. They have not provided the contract to risk. They have not worked with our broker. I am saying this is not properly agendized because had it been, I would have brought up that issue and concern for the good of the county. There is no reason not to have provided that. And this is only indicative of a contact with Farm Bureau and not treating the board as a unit. Because this should have been done through our risk manager, our broker, presented to the board
It
in
was
its
done
entirety.
through our risk
So
manager.
I would like an opinion from legal on moving forward.
So Asia, this is Bill Wilson here for everybody listening. I guess the question is to the entire board. Does a contract exist? I myself have not seen one. If so, why would it have not been produced for everybody? So just trying to get some basic information.
I will address that, but Bill, what has been going on is that we voted on it. It was presented and now we are about to present to the public. I emailed you about the contract. There has been nonstop work from Mrs. Speakman in regards to this proposal. What I am suggesting is that we listen to Mrs. Speakman, and then as I emailed you to get it to you, as the email said, to avoid litigation. And according to 31-814 insurance of county property, this is a responsibility of the board. So what I'm proposing is we follow the agenda that was legally noticed, voted upon. We listen to the presentation from the broker and we move forward.
And
Just asking, but do we actually have a contract available for that the board is something the board can actually sign at the conclusion of the presentation? Does that exist?
She has it in her
It's in her hand.
Okay, and has that been disseminated prior to today's meeting? Does who has actually seen a copy of that?
The contract has not been seen because of the changes. We're going to deal with the presentation. It'll be presented to you. And if we want to
Bill, I have a very significant problem with the way in which commissioners are trying to address something that could be so catastrophic to Bonner County. So
Right.
even though talking around in circles over where a contract is, as a business, Farm Bureau should not want to do it this way. But as a board of county commissioners, as I'm asking for legal advice, this is not reasonable and appropriate. We do not do contract review without having seen it as early as March 4th, which was yesterday when I did a follow-up. It still says, I have heard that there's a contract. When I receive it, I'll forward it to you. I have
Yeah.
not seen a contract.
So I would say to the entire board, if you're asking for legal review of this document, I mean, typically my office has a standing rule that we have up to 2 weeks to review a document. We would never be able to provide that review if the document is being presented or amended at the time of the business meeting where it's supposed to be approved. So I don't
Bill, it's a standard property insurance
All right.
policy. It's not rocket science.
Thank you, Bill.
We do not sign contracts for our.
We're gonna sign the
Exactly.
contract, but we-
No, we're not. This is gonna be long until you guys that give in because you too are costing us a significant amount of money with the way that you make decisions. You literally wrote a memo saying, for example, it has Farm Bureau Insurance presented the Bonner County Board of Commissioners a proposal to provide property insurance, which will result in significant savings, increased coverage and local agent for Bonner County. How do you know that if you haven't seen something that I have not seen? It is disingenuous, it's unprofessional, and you don't do it this way. I am telling you, the decision just to change Farm Bureau, even if it saved you $1, is significant to do. Remember, people, you guys were told
Commissioner
over and
Williams.
over again that we had to request extensions from our current insurer. We begged 30-day increments 3 separate times to when they gave in and said, fine, we'll give you a full policy until October. And now we want to go ahead and drop our insurance without having reviewed something reasonable and appropriate to justify a change. This is not how we should conduct business, and it is not going to bode well. Legal is supposed to be able to review this. You wrote a statement in a memo that is not supported by a
Commissioner
contract that
Williams,
I
there
have
is
seen.
no motion on the floor, and regardless of your attempts to filibuster,
We are not
we
going to
have-
move off this item because you did not agendize.
Commissioner Williams,
This is
we
not
are going
agendized
to
for a
allow
presentation
the
from Farm
statement
Bureau.
to present.
We are not agendized to
So am I
review.
to understand,
You're-
again, you are going to refuse the majority of the board and a business will
Yeah, I
have the
have to at this
opportunity.
point because the majority of the board is costing the county a significant
It
amount.
is 9:25 and we're gonna recess so I can go call Bill Wilson. I apologize, B.
I'm
But this
sorry,
will move
but
forward.
just so that we know, Mr. Wilson is not going to give you an opinion in real time on this issue. I can see that being a problem if you experience that in a different venue, but that's not what Asia does. I'm coming up, I'm showing up, and I'm trying to make sure that I make informed, educated decisions. And that's the right thing, even if it makes for more work for some people.
All right, it is 9. Madam Clerk, are we ready?
Yes.
All right, thank you. It is 9:39 and we are coming out of recess. I have conferred with council and council has suggested that we wait to address this issue in a different format. I will bring to the public's attention, today was the 3rd time that Mrs. Speakman from Farm Bureau had been here. All of these proposals were emailed to our risk manager. They were available, and Mrs. Speakman has graciously said that she is so confident in her product that she will return a 4th time, and we will give that time to legal to review. I too am that confident in the project, and I too am resolute in doing my job. Thank you, Mrs. Speakman, and we will be in touch. The copy of the contract will be submitted.
Can I
And-
please have a copy of the contract when you send the copy to risk management, please?
Yes, Commissioner, you will have a copy, just like you had the copy of February 5th.
Are you saying that you gave me a policy contract for this insurance on February 5th?
You got all the proposals?
No.
You
got-
attended the
No.
meeting regardless of.
No, don't mince the words. If you want to take the time to be negative, be honest.
Oh, I was
A-
honest. You were there.
I did not
regardless of-
receive a policy. And so that's all we're saying is we need to see the contract, which is the right thing to do. So thank you for being agreeable to remove your item from the agenda.